Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's class we are going to study types of bioreactors. So this topic is a part of subject Bioprocess Engineering, which is also present in the syllabus of GATE-B exam, which is going to happen in this year. So students, what are bioreactors? Bioreactors are vessels in which culturing of microorganism is done in order to produce certain product. So these microorganisms are directly used or indirectly used to produce certain products which are of commercial value. Different kinds of bioreactors are used for different applications, and there are different aspects related to the bioreactors which we are going to study today. So let's start. First type of bioreactor, which is continuous stir tank bioreactor. So here in this bioreactor there is a cylindrical vessel, as you can see over here. So this is cylindrical vessel, students, and here you see there is a shaft. It is motor driven shaft. Attached to it there are agitators. So these agitators are nothing but impellers. So these agitators, so when this shaft rotates, these agitators move. So they are also moving like this, and they are also moving in the horizontal plane in a circular fashion. So these impellers, when they are moving, they cause the mixing of the fluid which is present within the bioreactor. So the shaft is fitted at the bottom of the bioreactor. So it can be attached to the bottom or top as well. So, and there is also circulation of air. So this air is required for the microorganisms to breathe. So microorganisms also undergo respiration, and these microorganisms require oxygen, and they will utilize oxygen in the respiration process and release CO2. So that is why air is required. So air inflow is also there. There is gas outlet as well. Okay, and the number of these impellers, so you will ask how many impellers are required for a particular stir tank bioreactor to mix it properly, to mix the contents present within the bioreactor properly. How many impellers are required? So it depends on the size of bioreactor. So it is obviously more larger is the size of the bioreactor, more number of impellers are required, right? And also it is dependent on the aspect ratio. What is aspect ratio? This is very important, students. uh, Nobody will tell you like what is aspect ratio. It is nothing, it is very simple. It is height to diameter ratio. So height of the bioreactor, this is h, and this is diameter, so diameter d. So h by d is called as aspect ratio. Okay, so more is the height, lesser is the diameter, then more is the aspect ratio, right? So it depends on the aspect ratio as well, like how many number of impellers will be required. So aspect ratio of a stirred tank bioreactors is generally between 3 to 5. So aspect ratio is generally 3 to 5 for these bioreactors. For animal cell culture, remember, animal cell culture, aspect ratio is usually 2 or less than 2. Okay, now you will ask what is the diameter of the impeller? The diameter of the impeller, so this is the diameter of the impeller. So it should be um, it is usually 1/3 of the vessel diameter. So diameter of the impeller is 1/3 of the vessel diameter, and distance between two impellers should be 1.2 times 1.2 times of the impeller diameter. Okay, so distance between impellers. Okay, so these are some numbers which you need to remember. And here this is the again image of stir tank reactor. So here impellers are there, and sparger I will come back on in the different type of bioreactor. So air is inflowing, and there are impellers which are moving to mix the contents of the bioreactor. Now coming to the advantages. What are the advantages of stir tank reactors? STR means stir tank reactors. So here efficient gas transfer to growing cells. So here very efficient mixing happens. Because of that mixing there is efficient gas transfer. So air is there is inlet of air and then outlet of air, so air circulation should be proper. So why mixing is required? So students, this is your question. Why mixing is required in case of bioreactor? To mix the nutrients, to mix air, right? And to avoid the accumulation of the byproducts, avoid the accumulation of secondary metabolites, right? So there is good mixing of content, flexible operating conditions, and these are very easily available. So these bioreactors are very easily available. Now coming to the disadvantages. What could be the disadvantages? Can you think of any disadvantages? Because it is mechanically stirred through motor, there is generation of heat generation. And when there is heat generation, what will happen? The temperature of the vessel will rise, and when temperature will rise, then the microbes present within the bioreactor will start dying, because that is not the optimal temperature. So that is the biggest disadvantage of these bioreactors. So that is why these are avoided for very large volumes of the culture. Next type is bubble column bioreactor. So the bubble generated, so here this is again cylindrical vessel, right? There is also air inlet, air outlet. There is culture medium, okay? But in this case there is a sparger, air sparger. What is sparger? It is generally in the form of a ring in which there are holes present, or it is in the form of a disc. On the disc there are again holes present. So these are required for what? For the pumping of air, right? Pumping of air. So why a pumping of air is required? In this case bubbles are passed, and these bubbles are used to mix the content within the vessel. Okay, so here the air is coming in into the vessel through this sparger. Okay, you need to remember these terms. And um, what it will create? It will create a uniform homogeneous environment throughout the bioreactor. Okay, and in this case, this type of bioreactor, the bubbles generated by the sparger are broken down into smaller ones by impellers. There may be impellers used or may not be used. So generally bioreactors are used for which kind of cultures where the temperature is critical. If temperature is increasing, then there is a trouble. So in that case, bubble column bioreactors are used for air mixing of the content of the bioreactor or culture medium of the bioreactor. Next type comes is airlift bioreactor. What is airlift? As you can see from the name, air is lifting. Air is lifting, and that is causing the mixing. So basically how mixing is being done, based on that the bioreactors are given the names. But however, other names are also given that we will study in the upcoming slides. So airlift bioreactor, here air is again sparged through the sparger. Again it is sparged through the sparger, and here I will mention. And what will happen? Air is going up, and there is presence of what? A kind of draft tube. So there is a draft tube present within the bioreactor. It is nothing, just a tube. It could be empty tube. That empty tube is present, and air is circulating around this tube like this. Okay, so from the center air is going up. So there are two zones. There are two zones. What are two zones? One is riser zone, where air is rising up along with the air, medium is rising up, and down corner. So downcomer, sorry, downcomer. So here air is coming down, along with that the culture medium is coming down like that. So it once it is coming down, then again it is going up like that. So this way it is moving, not this. Okay, so like this it is moving continuously here like this. So this kind of motion occurs. Another type is, so this is internal loop airlift bioreactor. This is external loop. How it is external loop? Because here looping is occurring because of presence of external hole which is present here. So this is a kind of hollow cylinder which you can see. Air is being sparged from here, and it is going in, it is lifting the entire contents of the bioreactor is lifting, and it is going this way like that. It is mixing continuously. So this way there is mixing happening. So these two are internal loop and external loop. This is internal loop and this is external loop. Now coming to the advantages of airlift bioreactors. What are the advantages? They are more efficient than bubble columns. So bubbles are less efficient because these are small and they may not be able to mix the content, the media which is present within the bioreactor. And also they are particularly more efficient for denser suspension of microorganism. Why? Because if it is denser solution, then it is difficult to mix, more energy is required. Bubbles will not have that much energy to mix the dense medium. So airlift are better in that case. They are more commonly employed for aerobic bioprocess technology, obviously because air is used. They ensure a controlled liquid flow. Here a controlled liquid flow is occurring, and that how we can control? We can control it through the flow rate of the air from the sparger. Due to high efficiency, these are preferred over other bioreactors, and for example in methanol production, wastewater treatment, single cell protein production, these bioreactors are used. Their performance is dependent on the pumping of air and liquid circulation. So how well it is the pumped, how well air is being pumped, how controlled it is, and how the liquid circulation happening. Now coming to the another type of airlift bioreactors, this is two-stage airlift bioreactor. Why it is called as two-stage? Because here in this process there are certain bioprocesses which require two different stages. How? Because in one stage one molecule is being produced in, and in another stage that molecule is being utilized and getting converted into um, another molecule through another bioprocess, right? So what happens, one bioreaction is occurring at 30 degrees Celsius temperature, another is occurring at 42 degrees Celsius. So what will happen, there will be two bioreactors which are connected through a pump, and there is air inlet. Air is passing through this bioreactor. This is which one? This is internal loop or external loop? This is external loop bioreactor. There are two external loop bioreactors which are connected through pump, and air is being passed, and everything is mixing within this bioreactor, and this bioreactor is maintained at 30 degrees Celsius temperature. Another temperature is 42 degrees Celsius temperature, and it is maintained at this temperature, and the content of this bioreactor is being pumped into another bioreactor where cells are present, and these cells at this temperature, what they will do, they will convert it into another molecule. So here conversion from A to B is happening, and here conversion from B to C is happening. So finally we got the product C, like that. Another type of airlift bioreactor is tower bioreactor. So what happens in case of tower bioreactor, it looks like a tower, and here there is inlet, there is gas inlet, and air is being passed through this tube. So this is riser actually, and it is rising there, and it is now coming down. This is the down comer. So like this it is continuously moving up and down. So again here there are two zones, riser and downcomer, and the contents are being mixed in this bioreactor. So this is called as tower, and why it is called as tower, because it looks like a tower and the top is broader and the bottom is narrower in this case. Okay, next we will come to the fluidized bed bioreactors. So this bioreactor is comparable to the bubble column bioreactor, except its top position is little bit expanded. Okay, so this part is expanded. Why it is called as fluidized? Because in this medium is present and biocatalysts are present which are fluidized. How fluidized? They are suspended in the medium. So a biocatalyst could be immobilized cells, it could be immobilized enzymes or other catalyst. Okay, and there is medium in which maybe substrate is present, and that substrate is getting converted into the product through the catalyst. Okay, so these bioreactors are suitable to carry out reactions involving fluid suspended biocatalysts. Okay, so for an efficient operation of these biocatalyst, students, for this fluidized bed bioreactors, what is necessary? Gas is aspersed. So gas is aspersed from here. Okay, and also there is feed. Feed means input of the medium, input of the culture medium, nutrients to this side, and there is liquid out. So it could be continuous, it is getting inside here and getting out from here. Okay, It is also necessary to ensure that the suspended solid particles are not too light or too dense. So if it is too light, then they will float. Okay, when these suspended particles are too light, then they will start floating, and if they are too dense, then they will settle at the bottom. Okay, so here recycling of the liquid is important to maintain a continuous contact between the reaction contents and the biocatalyst, and this will ensure the good efficiency of the bioprocessing. Okay, so another type is packed bed bioreactors. What happens in case of packed bed bioreactors? So as you see, there is a packed bed of biocatalysts. Biocatalysts, again, it could be immobilized enzymes, microbial cells, catalysts. Okay, and so there is a bed of solid particles. Okay, there is a matrix of solid particles and which is packed in a column. Okay, and these solid particles may be porous or non-porous gels. Okay, so they may be compressible or rigid. So these can be porous, non-porous, they may be rigid, or they may be compressible. Okay, and a nutrient broth flows continuously over the immobilized bioreactor. So here nutrient broth is coming in and it is like a shower. Okay, and here it is coming inside, and here from here it is going out. So this is outlet, and the products are being found because here nutrients are coming, maybe substrate is coming, and it is getting converted into the product and it is coming out from the outlet. So there is no accumulation of products. So if there are certain bioreactions where there is inhibition of the enzyme from the product, for example feedback inhibition, so feedback inhibition is prevented through this packed bed bioreactor. So these one of the type is also tickle bed bioreactor. So in that water is trickled like a shower into the bed of the bioreactor, into the bed of the biocatalyst. So these are the different types of bioreactors, and so depending upon the requirement and depending upon the application, these different kinds of bioreactors are used, and different types of stirring mechanisms are used. And I hope this video was helpful for you all. If you have any questions, please write down in the comment section. I will be happy to answer your queries. Thank you everyone. Take care. Bye.